The one with the routine is the 10th episode of the 6th season of Friends. This is directed by Kevin Bright, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And I think it's definitely a pretty solid episode. It starts off establishing the time of year with everybody decorating the Christmas tree. Monica's working on one side, the others are working on the other, rather messy side, and then Monica turns it around, and it's honestly pretty perfect. We then have two parts to the narrative, and I will talk about both of them in turn. And part of it focuses on Phoebe, Rachel, and Chandler, and part of it focuses on Joey, Ross, and Monica, and also Janine. Janine comes into Central Park, and she explains that she's going to be a dancer on Dick Clark's New Year's Rocking Eve, and they're actually taping tomorrow because they tape the party part of it ahead of time, and she invites Joey to go along, and she also invites Monica and Ross because they grew up loving that TV show. And what I particularly enjoyed about this scene is seeing the reactions of Chandler and Rachel. Basically, Rachel is delighting in the fact that she's no longer with Ross, but Chandler is still with Monica, and they are both acting very enthusiastically, to say the least. It's a good fun scene. I will then talk about the taping. I will talk about Phoebe, Rachel, and Chandler afterwards. And the taping scenes are very lively. We have some great music. There are a lot of people milling around. Ross and Monica are dancing really hard, very, very enthusiastically. There's a lot of energy in these scenes as they're trying to obviously be shown on television. Janine, unfortunately for Joey, has been paired with the tall guy. The tall guy is played by Lex Medlin. And Joey actually goes to the bathroom. He needs a break from his dancer because his dance partner is very energetic as well. And Joey goes to the bathroom and talks with tall guy, tries to get him to swap so that Joey can kiss Janine at the countdown. His theory is that if she kisses him back, maybe he actually has a chance with her. Tall guy won't swap, so Joey splashes water on the front of his pants. And it worked. His plan actually worked, and they have the New Year countdown, and they get to 1, and they yell cut. And that's the end of that. Joey didn't get to kiss Janine, and he yells out no, which he turns into Happy New Year, and I'm sure like a lot of people, I can't hear Happy New Year without hearing Joey say Happy New Year, which just I think is absolutely delightful. And this part of the story is actually, I don't love it. I don't dislike Janine, but I never really cared for the character, and I just felt like it was so cliche and so obvious what happened next. Maybe not obvious in the episode itself, but in general, I think if somebody were to predict this, I wouldn't be surprised. When they get back to the apartment, Janine counts down and kisses Joey. And she wanted to kiss him, and obviously he kisses her back, and he says that he needed a couple of seconds to prepare for it, and it's really sweet. It's nice to see Joey kissing somebody, and he has genuine feelings for her. Not for the first time, but obviously Joey's got a bit of a reputation for hitting on everybody and anybody, so the fact that he does have genuine feelings for Janine, I do like, but kissing and having this romantic moment just felt a little bit too obvious. I don't know if I felt that the first time I watched this. I really can't remember. But watching it now, I definitely feel like it's just a little bit predictable. I didn't mind it, but I didn't love it, and I feel like it was meant to be a really beautiful moment, and I didn't care for it. I'm pleased for Joey, but that's about it. Of course, the other part of the taping involves Monica and Ross doing the routine. They decide that the only way they're going to get on television as if they performed the routine. And this is a dance routine they had when they were kids, when they were younger. And I would have loved to have seen the rehearsals for this. Maybe there's footage of that online, I'm not sure. But certainly it's really good fun. And a little cheesy, a little corny, and an absolute delight. And they perform this to The Trouble with Boys. And I'd say it's definitely an iconic Friends moment, a very iconic moment. So can't really complain there. And we'll come back to that at the very end. The other part of the narrative, as I said, this focuses on Rachel, Phoebe, and Chandler, and they're looking for presents. And I quite like the fact that we cut back and forth at a reasonable rate because the dancing scenes are quite dimly lit. Understandably, it's not very well lit, but the scenes with the other three are very brightly lit, and I like that because I'm not a huge fan of dim lighting. It serves a purpose, but I like those scenes being a little bit brighter and a little bit more eye-catching. And initially they think they find the presents under the sofa. It's not, and there's a note from Monica saying, P.S. Chandler, I knew they'd break you. And they find the gifts, except they don't. Chandler got some bookends, some A to Z bookends, Phoebe's as, and eventually they do find the gifts in the hollow chest. And I really admired Chandler in this moment because he said that actually he doesn't want to open them. He wants to see the look on Monica's face when he delightfully unwraps whatever it is she's bought him on Christmas morning, which I think is really beautiful. Phoebe and Rachel would rather look at the presents. Unfortunately, Monica comes home at that time, sees the presents, and I guess understandably assumes that they had actually opened the presents, and she reveals that she got Chandler a water purifier, and yeah, that was quite a look on Chandler's face. It's not a bad part of the episode. I certainly enjoyed it. And just as a trio, we don't really get Rachel, Phoebe and Chandler together that often. So that was quite nice. I quite enjoyed it. And then we end the episode. Very, very funny moment, but I feel for Ross, where they talk about how they actually switched the routine around. Because in the routine, Monica jumps into Ross's arms. But when they were kids, Monica being that much larger, it was the other way on. And Monica is really confident that they could still do it that way. She could still carry Ross. So they get up to do it. And just as Ross is about to jump, she realizes actually, no, she can't. And she moves out of the way and Ross just goes flying. And honestly, I think it's very funny. I think it's very entertaining. Really solid episode. Personal highlights. Honestly, the Christmas tree, just the appearance of Monica's Christmas tree, absolutely stunning. Ross and Monica's enthusiasm. Obviously, the routine itself is a delight. Joey saying, Happy New Year. That's lived in my brain for 20-something years. And yeah, I guess the kiss with Janine, it was magically done. It was a beautiful scene. I feel like it's too obvious. But I'm not that bothered about it. It's just not, for me, a personal highlight. But that being said, it's a really beautiful episode. It's very memorable and rather magical at times, certainly, with some really great performances, really high energy throughout. And I guess also a nice message about not hunting for Christmas presents because you will ruin the magic for the person gifting. I looked for Christmas presents as a child. I won't deny that. This episode clearly had no effect on me. But nevertheless, I think it's a really great episode with some really solid moments. The one with the routine is a fabulous episode of Friends.